the Buffalo Bills. The 2025 season for the Buffalo Bills. Again, it was time. It's been time for a long time for a change. I've called out for it a couple times on this channel, but you have to do what's best for business. And the Buffalo Bills had to move on from Sean McDermott, and I think they did a great job here. Maybe waited way too long to do that. I think after 2024, I would have moved on from a Sean McDermott, but they waited till 2025 and bite the bullet another year. They actually fired his ass. They finished second in the AFC East after so long of them dominating the AFC East. The Bills did not win the division. The Patriots won the division, and the additions that they added into this team this year, like Amari Rogerson, Josh Palmer, Kendrick Green, Marcus Harris, Casey Rogers, Elijah Moore, Braden Cooks came in from the Saints. You've gone heavily investing on different sides of the ball here, so you're hoping maybe they're going to get to at least a championship game this year. But they finished the season second. They win 12 out of 5 games. So again, they still win. Again, one thing you can say about the Sean McDermott team, they're still going to win double-digit games. But they won 12 and 5, and they finished second in the division. Still made the playoffs, but I thought the draft was very mid. I wasn't really happy with the draft. Like, first off, again, what I liked with the draft approach was, again, I like what it was going to draft approach here. Again, the beef about defense, because again, offensively they've not been too bad. They've had Stephon Diggs in the last couple of years, and so and I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's the defense that's going to screw them over. How many times is the defense going to screw them over? But you look at that T.J. Sanders going in defensive tackle, Landon Jackson going defensive end, Deion Walker going in defensive end. They traded away a couple of picks to the Bears and the Browns. And then Jordan Haddock came in cornerback. You got Jason House came in. Dorian Strong came. They did, again, they beefed up the offensive line, wide receiver, and the defense. And then James Cook, I think had a good year. Ray Davis, you got Ty Johnson, you got Dalton Kincaid, you got Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks. Again, you've got some good weapons here, and you didn't make it to a championship game or a playoff. You didn't make it to the playoffs this year. And this was a perfect time for the Bills to make it to the playoffs, especially when the Chiefs weren't in the playoffs this year. They had a bad year compared to Chiefs standards. The Eagles weren't in the playoffs this year. The Ravens were in the playoffs. Again, this was the perfect window for the Bills to actually go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year. The Rams didn't make it to the Super Bowl. This was the chance to do it. And I even had you guys as my fucking team to win the fucking Super Bowl this year. The Bills. And they didn't do it. They just choked like they do normally in the playoffs, which makes me depressed because Josh Allen is the best quarterback in this league. And it makes me sad that again, I don't want to see Josh Allen. I don't want to, again, you don't want to look at this and go, oh, we had so many great weapons. We had an elite level quarterback and he never won a fucking ring. It's like the Bills of the 1990s. They were great in the 1990s, early 1990s, but they never fucking won shit together. You don't want to see this 2020 version of the Bills. We're like, oh, Josh Allen, best quarterback in this league. But ultimately, they didn't win fucking shit together. So ultimately things had to change. But they started out the season pretty well. They was 4-2 after week 6. They had the bye week in week 7. They come back and destroy the Panthers on the road. They lose to the Dolphins. A dumpster fire like the Dolphins in week 10, which is again, and then they beat the Steelers on the road. A great defensive performance by Sean McDermott. They beat the Patriots 35-31 on the road. Then they beat the Skid Marston and they win the last game against the Jets 35-8, finishing 12-5. They win the first playoff road game since 1992. They beat Jacksonville on the road in the wild card 27-24. That was the first playoff win since 1992 when Frank was the quarterback. And then you lose in a division game in overtime. It was a 3-pointer in overtime in the divisional playoff round against the Broncos. And once again, Josh Allen was shit in that game. He fumbled the ball multiple times, and the defense was shit. But ultimately, Josh Allen was fumbling the ball as well. So again, really bad playoff performance from Josh Allen in the divisional round. Points for, they had the fourth best offense in the league, 4th out of 32. Their defense though was 12th in the league. The 12th best defense in the league was, again, they have the 12th best defense in the league. It's not good enough, especially when you have the weapons on the offense. But then when the defense is letting you down like they are, with a defensive-minded head coach, which ultimately his job is to beef up that defense and be better on that side of the ball, and he's consistently that is a problem. So after the division game, Sean McDermott was fired, and rightfully so. If you want to have a winning team, you've got to pull the plug now. And you had Josh Allen who had over 3,668 passing yards. You had James Cook who had over 1,000 rushing yards. They hired Joe Brady, so that's what I like about the Bills. Like they hired within, so they didn't do like what Seattle did a couple years ago when Pete Carroll left, and then they didn't hire Shane Waldron. The Bills hired within, so they trust Joe Brady, and they've seen something in Joe Brady that they want to keep him on for the head coaching job, which is great. I think he has got potential. The defensive coordinator is Jim Leonhard, and offensive coordinator is Pete Carmichael. He's been around a bit. He's been around like everywhere. They have over like 15 million in cap space, so they don't have a lot of cap space. They're over 50 million in the cap space. They're over 15 million in salary cap, so you probably have to move some of these guys on. They do have a first round pick, 26 overall. They have second round pick, 60th overall. They have a third round pick, 91st overall, and then you could have a fourth round pick down the road, a fifth round, and you could have later the 6th round, 7th round picks. But the main concern for this team is defense. They need some edge rushers, cornerbacks, linebackers. They just need to beef up that secondary. That is the aim of the game, is beef up that secondary and get some edge rushers going at the quarterbacks. Make sure that you're tightening up that defense, because again, once the Bills get the defense, right, and they fix it, and they actually get it right on the defense side of the ball, this Bills team, there's no excuse then. There's no excuse for them to win a championship once they get this defense right. And if they don't win a championship after they got the defense right and the offense right, maybe the question is that this team can't do it. But I'm hoping that maybe that now that there's a change, and now they're going for an offensive-minded head coach now instead of a defensive-minded head coach, that things will change. But they still have to address that defense, because they're not going to win shit with having the 12th best defense in the league. And obviously they're going into the new stadium, so they're leaving the Highmark Stadium. Well, they've left the Highmark Stadium now. They're going into the new stadium next season. It's ready for 2026, which is great for them. And they can host WrestleMania. They can host SummerSlam and wrestling events and stuff like that, which also makes them more money. But yeah, that's my my thoughts on the Bills. If you guys thoughts and comments.